Hello everyone, my name is Protesilaos, also known as Prot. In this video I want to show you how to customize the mode line of Emacs with the modus themes as an example. I am using the modus themes because they are highly customizable and they provide us ways to do this while reusing their color palette. But many of the concepts that I will cover here are theme agnostic. Let's get started right away. The mode line is this bar that we see in the lower part of the window, this thing over here. Each window in Emacs is each rectangle inside of the Emacs frame, inside of this big box. Each of these smaller boxes is a window, and each window has its own mode line. This is now the active mode line, and the one above is the inactive mode line. And if I have more windows, then I have more inactive mode lines. Again, each window has its own mode line. The mode line has a number of display attributes associated with it. We can see over here that it has a background color that is distinct from the main background color. The main background is white. The mode line here is a gray color. It also has a different foreground color, meaning the color of the text for each indicator that does not specify its own color value. We can see, for example, here that we have an almost pure black color. It's not exactly pure black. And we also have some other color values. So these that are just, the black color, these are the color, the foreground value of the mode line. The others have their own color value, which overrides that of the mode line. And the third attribute that we see over here is the color of the border that is around the mode line. And this, of course, applies to inactive mode lines as well. We see, for example, in the lower part of the Emacs frame, the inactive mode line has a lighter background, but also a lighter foreground relative to the active mode line. What we want to do now is to customize these attributes. In Emacs, the set of display attributes that apply to color and the typography are known as a face. So a face encapsulates this set of attributes. We have like the background color, the foreground color, the exact font that is used, the exact font height, whether there is a bold weight or not, etc. So all these are encapsulated in a face. Let's see then how we can learn about the faces that Emacs is using. Emacs list dash faces dash display, and this will produce a help buffer which includes all the faces that are loaded in the current Emacs session. This is not an exhaustive list of faces. It doesn't cover everything. This only shows you the faces of the packages slash features that are loaded in your current Emacs session. Meaning that if you load some new package, then you will see its faces here, but they are not here right now. So what I want to do is a search for mode line right here. And here I get to see the faces, the names of the faces, and also a preview next to them. So I can see that the mode line is this gray box over here. The mode line buffer ID is this just bold text. And then, of course, I can click on it and see what this is about. Face for the mode lines, blah, blah, blah. And then I can see the attributes here in this custom UI interface. Of course, you can modify everything here, but personally, I never use this. When I develop a package, of course, I make sure that it uses this properly. It makes everything customizable through this user interface. But for me, this is not a pleasant way to work with code. I prefer to just modify some program, write some code and have it done that way, which is why we are here. What you want to do with that list faces display is you want to get the names of the faces. Of course, I have been doing this for a long time and I know these faces. Mode line, inactive are the ones we are interested in, but we will see this in practice. Once you have the list of faces that you are interested in, you want to decide, you want to figure out how you plan to set the attributes of those faces. If you use a given method, it will have different effects. There are two ways, broadly speaking, to set faces in Emacs. One is the set face attribute function that I have over here, and the other is the custom set faces. Let's focus on this for now, and you will see the effect. The difference between the two is that set face attribute will not take precedence over a newly loaded theme if there is a conflict. Meaning, if, for example, let's say set face attribute changes the mode line to red, and then you load a theme whose mode line is blue, the mode line will be blue in that case. Whereas with custom set faces, this will override any future theme. So if you say custom set faces make the mode line red, no matter what theme you use, the mode line will always be the color that you specified. Let's focus on this for now, and I want to narrow to this, and let's see what we can do over here. Set face attribute is a function that accepts a face as an argument, and here I want to have I want to have the mode line face. Notice, by the way, the lower part, so here, notice the lower part of my Emacs. You will see it says set face attribute, and it has here the arity of the function, meaning the arguments that it accepts. And here it highlights the first argument because this is where I am positionally. So if I type here, then I will type the frame argument, which in this case just is nil. Of course, you can read the documentation of set face attribute to learn about these sort of technicalities. And then the rest args are a list like a non-exhaustive, an indeterminate in terms of length, list of attributes. So we have attributes like this: background, and then we will have a color value, foreground, again a color, and box. In our case, these are the three that we are interested in. Color values. Here is the thing. What we can do is we can do mx list colors display. And what this will do is it will produce a list of colors that are supported by your current build of Emacs. Depending where you are running Emacs, you will see different colors. So there are lots of colors here, and you can just either pick a color value from there or use the name of this. For example, if I want to have, let's say, spring green or whatever, you just pick that and you put it in quotes like this, and this will be the color that you will use. So there is that. Let's remove that. Not to bother you too much with this, you can check it out on your own. Personally, I don't use that. I define my colors myself. So you can have the color there. The point is that you can have the color here either as a hexadecimal RGB value. For example, let's say I want to have let's have some faint pink like this. You see, we have a pink color like that. And then I want to have, for the sake of demonstration, I want to have again a, let's say, darker pink. magenta in that case, so I can have something like this. You see, this is the idea. Of course, I don't suggest that you go about writing colors like this. If your theme supports the colors, I suggest you do something else. But for the sake of completeness, let's have this over here. And for the border, let's use a slightly darker. Let's use it like this. Of course, I know color values, so let's use something like this. And I do this, and it applies the color. Of course, this is the first color that came to mind. It doesn't mean that you should be using this. Let's see now what we can do, because of course you can go around and find colors yourself, but the chances that you will find something that is good, of course, depends on how exhaustive your search will be and what your knowledge of colors is. However, what you can do is, instead of doing that, you can wrap the setFace attribute call in the modus themes with colors macro. And what this does is it gives you access to the palette of the active theme. So let me type this thing out again, and I will show you now what the palette is. Foreground, and then we have the box. So to learn about the colors of the active modus theme, we will do Emacs modus themes preview colors and current. So there is preview colors and preview colors current. The difference between the two is that the preview colors will ask you for a theme, for a modus theme, of course, but preview colors current will just show you the current theme's colors. In this case, the current theme is the modus operandi theme. So let's see what is happening. I had this issue before also with the list faces display and the list colors display. They take a second. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I am recording. And probably the audio and the motion here is out of sync, by the way, but I don't know how to fix it. At any rate, this is the palette of the active theme, of the modus operandi theme. And it lists, you can see here, it lists the color, the foreground, and then the background, and then the name of the color. What we are interested in this case, is the name of the color, and I will explain why we need that. Because if you switch between the modus themes, you presumably want to use the same color, whether it is a modus operandi or one of the other themes in the collection. Let's get to these colors now, which are BG. So BG stands for background. So let's try some background here. Let's go with the magenta. Why not? BG magenta subtle. I like that. And for the foreground, of course, I know my colors here, but let's go and check. Let's imagine we don't know. And here we have some magenta, magenta warmer, and magenta cooler. So how about we go with the magenta warmer? This sounds good. And for the box, let's go with the magenta. And let's evaluate this. And now it has changed the colors. Maybe the effect was too subtle. So instead, let me change the magenta to, for example, blue. Like this, and let's evaluate. And you see, now we have a blue-ish mode line. Let's get some nice colors here now, actually. What I would like here is BG Sage. I like that. And then I would rather have something like this. Let's see. What about this? I like this. You see, I like this faint green. It's very nice. Another one that is very nice, it is the ochre. And you can combine this with yellow cooler. I think that will look very nice. I like this as well. If you want to have a bit more flair, you can even go with red warmer there. And yeah, I think that looks very nice. Let's go with this one for now, okay? So we have changed that. By the way, the narrow and the normal that you see over here, this is because this is my custom mode line. I define everything myself, so don't worry about those. Just focus on the mode line face. So we did that for the active mode line. For the inactive mode line, we can do the same here while still wrapping it, you see, inside of the modus themes with colors. Let's change this. I will use BG dim, but for the sake of the demo here, I will just use red there. And let's use for here red faint. Yeah, let's have this. Oh, sorry, I did it for the active one. I wanted to do for the inactive one, and like this. So my active mode line is now has this ochre background. The inactive one has a red foreground because why not? This is a demo. Of course, I don't like that, so I wouldn't recommend you do that. Personally, I just like FG dim in that case. And then here we have the border, which is like that. Personally, this is what I like. But of course, there is no stopping you from doing whatever you want. But this is the idea, folks. Modus themes with colors. Now, here is the thing. If I switch to another modus theme, I will do Emacs, modus themes select. And I have lots of themes, of course, in the collection over here. I will just do modus themes, modus operandi. Let's go with the deuteranopia variant of modus operandi, which is the one optimized for users with red-green color deficiency. Because I set the attributes with set face attribute, my mode line now will change color. What I set here will not be preserved. Let's see this in action. So I will select the modus operandi deuteranopia theme. And now I see that it took precedence over my set face attribute specifications over here. The active mode line now is blue. The inactive mode line is again gray. So that is what the set face attribute gives you. Whenever there is a conflict, a direct conflict between what we specify and what the theme specifies, the theme takes priority. Okay? Let's now go to the next section where we have custom set faces. And custom set faces is the opposite with regard to overrides, meaning that what we set here is the source of truth. It takes precedence over any future theme. So the way this works is that you have to specify the faces in the same way they appear in the source code of the theme. So if you have loaded the modus themes with a package, if you have installed the package from GNU Elpa, for example, you can do Emacs find dash library, and then let's go to the modus themes, okay? And we can search now for the dash mode line, okay? And here I get an idea of how the faces are defined at the theme level. And basically, we have to use the same syntax if you are using custom set faces. This is the idea. I don't want to bother you with the technicalities of this syntax, but the idea is that this dash, this comma C over here is the set of display specifications that Emacs supports. So this is about if Emacs supports many colors, use these attributes. Basically, that's the idea. But let's not worry about this. Let's go here. And now I want to do this. I want to have the mode line here. And then for the specs here, I want to just say true, meaning, whichever, use whatever, no matter what. I want you to use this background, and then let's use now a slightly different background. Let's use a faint green. Let's have a green bluish. Let's have it like this, a mint color or a sage color. And then for the foreground, let's use, again, let's use a green, which is green blue, like this. Maybe make it a bit more blue, like this. And here we have it. Let's eval this. And now this has taken effect just like that. Let me make this a little bit darker so that it's a bit easier for you to read, though it doesn't really matter. This is just for demo purposes. Now let me switch theme, okay? Modus theme select, and I will go to modus operandi. Let's go to modus operandi tinted, just so that you see the example. Modus operandi tinted doesn't have a white background. I switched to it now. It has like a light ochre background, and it also has a few different colors. And we see that the mode line is the one that I specified because custom set faces takes precedence over the theme. If I want to undo the effect, I have to go to the custom set faces and basically annul this, basically do something like this, empty, you see? And the moment I set this to empty, modus operandi tinted will use its own colors over there. We see it like this. Let me switch again to another theme. Modus operandi. Let's use the Tritanopia, the one that is optimized for users with blue-yellow color deficiency. And I will switch to that, and this one will use cyan mode line, and we see it like that. Let me go back to modus operandi, the one I started with, and now you see it is gray, just like that. With custom set faces, we have the same principle as I showed earlier with the modus themes with colors. Modus themes with colors like this. Let's have the, sorry, like this. And so here we have this. Now, here is the thing. I want to say true again here, but we want now to be able to use the named colors that are specified in the palette, okay? So let's have the background, let's have the foreground, and let's have the box. So for the background, let's produce again the palette. I want BG lavender. Let's find the BG lavender over here. Okay. Let's see now a problem. I will do BG lavender. You may remember before that I just typed the name like that. And for here, let's do magenta cooler. And for the box, let's do the border like that. It is fine. Okay. I will evaluate this, and you will notice that it won't work. It produces an error, okay? The reason it produces an error is because the way of how this is defined. This is a constant list. You see, it has this single quote. And in Emacs Lisp, in Lisp in general, when you give a single quote, you are telling the program, do not evaluate what follows. Take this as is. And this is problematic because we actually want to evaluate these because these have no meaning to Emacs. They are not variables that have a meaning to Emacs. They are not symbols, rather, that have a meaning to Emacs. These are variables that have a meaning within the body of this. So what we need to do in this case, we need to retain the feature of having a list that is not taken as a function, that is taken as data, but selectively evaluate elements in that list. So how we do that? We'll replace the single quote with the backtick, and then every element in this list that we wanted to be evaluated, we prepend a comma to it just like that. And by doing that, we are telling Emacs, hey, I want you to take this whole list as is, except for what has a comma, which I want you to replace it with its actual value. Okay? And the actual value of BG lavender, for example, is this color value over here. BG lavender itself is meaningless. Okay? So let's go ahead and evaluate this. And this is very good. It has changed the color to what I like. Now, this is great. The thing with custom set faces is that it, as I said, it takes precedence over the theme. So while I am using a light theme, this is okay. But what happens is if I switch to a dark theme? Let me switch to modus vivendi, the dark variant of the modus themes, the default dark variant. Notice that this is a dark theme, so please adjust your brightness because I will now switch so that you don't get startled. I am giving you a second. And let's get ahead and do this right now. I am switching to the dark theme. Okay, here is the problem. I switched to the dark theme, and the mode line, the active mode line in particular, still uses colors that were appropriate for the light theme, but for the dark theme, they are completely unusable. You see, I can barely see anything here, and it's too aggressive. The contrast is too much for a mode line. I want to focus on the text. I don't want to have the mode line attract all the attention. So what I need to do in this case is I need to evaluate this again, okay? This over here. If I evaluate it again, notice that now it uses the BG lavender of the active theme, which is modus vivendi in this case. Of course, I don't want to do this manually. I don't want every time I change themes to go find my custom set faces and evaluate it again. What I want to do instead is I want to take this thing and I want to define a function and my modus themes faces. Okay, and this function takes no arguments, and all it does is it has this. It wraps basically the modus themes with colors in a function call like this. So I have defined this function, and then I want to do this, add the hook, modus themes post load hook like this, and then I want to have my sorry, then I want to have what happened. Sorry, I was clumsy. Come on. Yeah, let's see. Can I type? My modus themes, blah, blah, blah. So I want to basically, whenever I switch to a modus theme with one of the modus themes commands, I want this function to run. Let's evaluate this. And now I will do Emacs modus themes select. And now I will go to modus operandi. Okay. Again, I am switching to a light theme. The change may startle you, so please adapt accordingly. Giving you an extra second. Let's do this. I will now switch to modus operandi, and what this will do is it will switch to the theme and also run the my modus themes faces. And you see now I have done this in a way that is robust, in a way that works across the modus themes. I don't want to keep this, so let me remove the hook for now. And I want to, again, reset this effect. So we are back to the defaults, okay? Now, let me go to the next section, which is about using the palette overrides of the modus themes. And this is, of course, specific to my themes. The modus themes have this, but also my other theme projects. Maybe I can write them here. So we have the modus themes, which are also built into Emacs, by the way. We have the F themes, F, not EF, F. And then we have the standard themes. So we have those three, and all these use variants of this principle over here. The modus themes, of course, are the most exhaustive in this regard, the most customizable. And the idea with the modus themes and my themes in general is that instead of doing these changes with the code, you can just set palette overrides, okay? And let's do again the modus themes preview colors. Let's do that, and let's do for the modus operandi theme. And you will notice that we have all the named colors here, like yellow, and yellow is associated with a specific value, magenta, etc. And we have all these named colors as they are known. And further down, if we go further down, let's see, we have semantic palette mappings. For example, we have something like comment, or built-in, or keyword, etc. So let's go ahead and change this, do it this way. So what I want to do is I want to do this for the modus themes common palette overrides. Each theme has its own overrides if you want. For example, there is modus operandi. Let's comment this. Modus operandi palette overrides, okay, and so on for every theme. But we want to use the common palette overrides over here. And let's change the keyword, for example. The keyword is this thing over here, which has setQ. And I will change the keywords to green cooler. Of course, you learn about the names again by looking at the palette. I have done that. And what I then need to do is to load the theme of choice. So I will do it like this. And now you see this is a shade of green. Let's go and do this to a few more things. For example, I want the comment to be red faint. And let's have the BG mode line active. I want this to be, let's do the BG lavender, why not? Or let's do the BG ochre that we had earlier. And then FG mode line active, I want it to be yellow warmer, because why not? This is a demo. And I think we have a border mode line active. Border mode line active, of course we have. And this one, again, demo purposes, let's set it to red. And I will also do the cursor. And the cursor, I want it to be, let's see, red. No, let's use magenta warmer for the cursor. So we have that. And yeah, let's evaluate this, okay? And now let's load the theme for changes to take effect, modus operandi, and here is the idea. You see, folks? So the comments are a shade of red. Let's see again. This is a comment, okay? And my cursor has this magenta color. And yeah, exactly what I said here. The mode line has the ochre background and the yellow foreground, etc., etc. So yeah, this is the idea, folks. Let me unnarrow. And yeah, this is a way of how we can go about defining faces, customizing faces, overriding the palette in case we are using one of my themes. And just to say for completeness that if we don't want to override anymore, we just set the value back to nil. And then when we load the theme again, it's back to the default. Okay, so I think I covered everything. Of course, you can go further with this. You can have, for example, a combination of this with what I showed before with regard to defining a function and using the hook. You can use the set face attribute for that. Depending on what you want to do, you can mix and match these. But the core idea is to use the macro modus themes with colors. There is another function, which I haven't covered here, but it is this one, modus themes get color value. And you can get a color. For example, let's say that I want to get the value of red warmer. And let's see, it's this one, okay? And if I want to get, oh, sorry, let's have this below, the value of blue cooler, what about that? It's this one over here. So yeah, I can get the values one by one this way as well. And you can even make it so that this one does not read the overrides. So for example, or rather reads from the overrides, and it also specifies a theme. So let's use modus vivendi in this case, the dark theme. And you see, blue cooler for modus operandi is this. For modus vivendi, it's that one over there. So there is this as well. Again, depends what you want to do. That's all for today, folks. Thank you very much for your attention. Finally, just to say what I did here, where I was narrowing to the outline, I did it with my logos package. But yeah, if you have any questions, you can always ask me. Thank you very much for your attention, folks. Take care and goodbye for now.